Good morning and welcome to the Morning Digest show. This is the show where we discuss leadership matters. I'm your host, Reverend Albert Shitakwa, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this particular conversation, which is part 2 of a discussion we began last week on leadership and mentorship. So I want to encourage you to invite your friends and family to join in and be part of this show, and you can be part of this show by participating through your feedback, comments, questions, and we'll be happy to look at them during this particular show. I am once again honored to have my good friend Reverend Joseph Obwanda, the founder and director of Heshimika initiative, and he is here with us, and we are going to continue with this conversation, and I believe it's going to be an amazing time. So how are you, Rev?
I am better than good, by God's grace. Yes.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy to be here once again.
We had a good conversation last week. And,
Thank God.
We left it somewhere. I think we need to be able to pick it up and continue on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about leadership and mentorship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe even as a way of helping those guys who are joining us for the first time today, as a way of helping them to be able to catch up. Of course, we can always watch the live show, but then, the show later. But then just to help them so that we can be able to, they can join us in our conversation as we continue forward.
All right. I think as a matter of definition, one, fundamentally, leadership and mentorship are relationship issues. All right? So that a leader or somebody who is functioning in leadership ought, for all intent and purpose, be a leader. There are certain things that they embody with which they function on the platform of leadership. So we must not mix up leader and leadership. Not all people in leadership are leaders. Some are bleeders, right? Now, if the person...
some are bleeders.
Some are bleeders. They are hemorrhaging, right? And that affects their leadership. Yet leadership is a privileged space of influence. So that now those people who appreciate you as the leader, and by here we say leader here is somebody who has consolidated the highest standards of expression in their virtues, values, and principles. Now, mentorship then is also a level of relationship, but now because we are looking at it in the context of leadership, mentorship is where there are people who want to emerge into new realities, new spaces, new opportunities. Now, this privileged person called a leader, through their leadership position, they are able to allow the gift of access or give the gift of access to their mentees. So their mentees can come into that relationship, which is called mentorship. And in that, we defined mentorship, or I don't know whether we defined it, but for all intent, mentorship is an authentic relationship where a mentee donates power to the mentor. Donates power.
Donates. The keyword is donates.
Yes, to the mentor, so that there is a transaction of virtues, values, and principles of the mentor to the mentee. Again, we also emphasize that the agenda of mentorship ought to be the mentees, not the mentors. So it's not the mentor who decides, I want to mentor you. And we mentioned something about fatherhood, where someone arrogates themselves the position that I'm your father. Well, again, we say that's a discussion for another day, but the point being, relationships cannot be delegated. You cannot say that from today, I'm your father or I'm your mentor. So we hold the view then that if one wants, of course there are two levels. There's formal and the informal mentorship. If you ask me, the ideal is informal, even within the formal. Because it has to be, you've permitted somebody, you've given somebody power over your life, so that that person can now speak to your life, but based on their discernment of your potentialities, your possibilities, and their role is to impart the virtues, values, and principles that will help you to achieve what you as a mentee has, how would I say, has embraced
Yes.
as your pursuit. And we gave several examples, and we share from the common mentorship from our teenage years by one Reverend Steve Munga. And I think he was a mentor par excellence because he was so secure that actually, I remember at one point he'll tell us, the purpose of this mentorship is that I become irrelevant.
Yes. That
you should be better than me. In fact, you should not be here longer than is necessary. He will be chasing us from the ministry. I think just
and that's the principle where John the Baptist says that he may increase and that I may decrease.
And that interplay where, I think one of the things we emphasize is that mentor does not fragilize the mentee. You don't have to bludgeon and make the mentee feel like they're an empty camp. They are coming for you to fill them. Respect the mentee because by the time they are coming to you, remember they are coming to you and they are submitting willfully. Only powerful people submit. When you see somebody not submit,
you need to repeat that again.
You see,
there are people who struggle with submission because they think it makes them look weak.
Yeah, and you see, because a mentorship relationship is about submission.
Yes.
Let's give a biblical example. David was surrounded by people who, for all intent, when they were serving under King Saul, they were so disempowered. The scripture defines them in 1 Chronicles, I believe, that there were men who were in distress, debt, and discontented. There were 3 Ds.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
But in no short time, these people were transposed to the bigger D, which were the dangerous men of David, or the mighty men of David.
Yes.
Now, if you look at what they achieved in their own individual rights, these guys were lethal. One man killed 800 people with a spear. One killed a lion in a cave on a snowy day. They were bad guys. One killed a giant.
And you know, people don't realize these guys actually killed more other giants
than
the Goliath David killed.
And then the point then is that how did they submit to David? Yet they were so powerful, at a snap of a finger, they would finish David.
Yes.
So when a mentee submits to you, do not suppose that they are not powerful. Is that the environment or the mentorship at which they were submitted before was not allowing their fuller expression. Because these guys were Benjamites.
Yes.
They were under King Saul, who was actually their kinsman. So tribalism also comes into these things. All right? But when they came to a point where they cared not a hoot that David was not their tribesman, except that he embodied the purpose of God for their life and that season, and they submitted to him. And they told him, we can discern that even when King Saul was leading us to war, you are actually our leader. And we are submitting not to you as a person. We are submitting to the fact that you are representing the purposes of God, or you are a destiny helper in this season. And I think we also, I don't know that we are still recapping, but we went further and said then you can have multiple mentors. So you can have a mentor, because a mentor embodies certain VVPs, and nobody has monopoly of virtues and values and principles.
You know, you've said many things in the recap.
Okay, you know, that's how I say many things
that are powerful.
Okay, praise God.
You know, but as you you say don't fragilize a mentor.
Don't mentee.
Neither should you patronize.
Yes.
And then now you've talked about the issue of multiple mentors, meaning you can have many mentors in different aspects of your life where you want to develop and
absolutely.
Now, as we move on with this conversation of mentorship, because again, I get concerned with a phenomena or a word or something that becomes trendy, and in the process, meanings get lost. You know, the essence of it gets lost. You see, there was a time and I think it's still there, a lot of conversation on purpose. And people tend to get confused in the process because it's a word that is, thrown around. And so it's the same with mentorship. We are talking mentorship a lot in our day and time. And so the purpose of this, probably my hope is that by the end of the day, there will be a lot of clarity on the nature of the relationship, on the purpose of the relationship, on the quality of relationship that will be effective concerning mentorship. so that when we embrace that journey, then it will be a helpful journey. So one of the things I think we touched on, which I want us to take off from, is that it is a necessity or necessary for one to have mentors. Now that we have said the burden of finding a mentor is on the mentee, so it's a necessity for one to have mentors. Could you speak into that as we begin to build?
Yeah, I think what we said is that mentorship is a leverage.
Yes.
It means that you're making what worked to work. So, and in the context of the biblical principles, we can easily see, or let's put it this way, God does not squander experiences and resources. Why would Joshua have to learn all over again from the scratch what it took 40 years to train Moses on? Why would Elisha have to learn for himself what God took Elijah through?
Yes.
And so the principle of mentorship, as we mentioned, is this, that relationship, a mutual, in fact the key word is mutual. Mutual relationship where there's a transfer of virtues, values and principles which could be embodied in the experiences, exposure, explanations that a mentor has. All right? And they're being transferred to a mentee so that the mentee can build up on what the mentor has already experienced. The adage that we have seen far because we have stood on the shoulders of those who have gone before us. And so I think it's divine. It's a divinely ordained relationship where there's transmission and transgenerational progress of the purposes of God, principles, truths, so that those who are coming in don't have to start from the scratch. And I think it's just prudence. So if God has so ordained it, even Moses was enjoying the space, man. He was going to be the hero. But God told him, my friend, you are expiring. And see, however good a dancer you are, you must discern when to exit the dance
stage.
floor. Because you may want to stick there, but maybe the moves for the next song, you don't have them, and you make a fool of yourself. Yet, as we say,
you were once good, now you make a fool of yourself.
Exactly, because now you can't resonate with the next level, and not that you become entirely irrelevant, but now you become relevant in the person who, in fact, your success is in your successor, and that's the beauty, that's the pride of a mentor, that you can see that the things that you embodied or you've experienced have not been wasted. They've been passed on to somebody. And God directly charged Moses. He told him, Moses, your time is up. Actually, I know, I'm paraphrasing it. If I let it to your own devices, you may not ordain your own mentor. So I'm commanding you. Can you lay your hands on Joshua?
Now, I mean, I like what you're saying about, you know, being able to know when it is your time to exit. And as we build on the question of multiple mentors, what do you say to that person who believes that it's one size fits all? You can have one person who is now, from a spiritual language, by the way, we have, and that's why the confusion between mentorship and fatherhood, where, you know, one person becomes the one who kind of mentors you in every aspect.
And as we said, that mentorship, just like purpose, is multifaceted.
Yes.
We don't have purpose in life. I know there are conferences and books on purpose, your purpose in life. So people squander time looking for purpose in life.
Now you are throwing a lot of
I know.
confusion to people.
But it's a confused thing. It's not me throwing it. I'm just revealing it.
No,
it's already there.
I understand what you're saying. I agree with you.
Yes.
But I'm sure a lot of people are now wondering, what? That's a bombshell now.
Absolutely.
What do you mean?
If you look at, let's go back to that, then we come to mentorship again, because they're correlated.
Yes.
Ecclesiastes 3:1 says there's a season for everything.
Yes.
And a time for every purpose. Therein is the definition of purpose.
Yes.
If time is for every purpose, that means purpose is premised on a particular time and season, or let's say time.
Yes.
So I define time purpose as God's perfect will per time. So what's God's perfect will for me at this time? When I fulfill that purpose, he releases me to the next level of fulfilling purpose. So there is purpose of life, singular.
Yes. Yes.
And that is universal. Every human being has a single purpose of life. Which is in the Westminster Confession of Faith 1746, when the British Parliament wanted to address theological hard-nut issues that were concerning, you know, the existence of man.
Yeah.
The first answer they gave, which I think has been generally accepted in the body theology, and that the purpose of man is to glorify God and to enjoy him forever. So let everything that has breath praise the Lord. So if you have the purpose of your life is to worship God, to glorify him, irrespective of your faith, creed, whatever, you must worship God. But the purposes in life are, let's use a simpler word, responsibilities. You don't have a single responsibility in life. You have many responsibilities. Now relate that to mentorship.
Yes.
If you have several responsibilities in life, definitely there are people who are better positioned to help you, to journey with you, to accompany you in fulfilling those responsibilities. So I have a responsibility in my functioning as a husband, right? And therefore I have a family, or not a husband mentorship, but I have a family mentor.
A couple.
That's the point.
I normally actually advocate for couples, based on my experience in counseling with couples. I've realized that a lot of couples don't have mentor couples.
Yeah.
We had
they have family friends, but not mentors.
Or we had best couples who are ceremonial, you know, which shouldn't be the case.
Yes.
It should be that best couple should be actually a mentor couple that you journey along with in life.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Great. And you see, when you say that mentorship is a relationship, how would you say that you only have a relationship with one person? So that we are saying it's intentional. Now, what's the difference between mentorship and others is because of the intentionality of this relationship.
Yes.
And you will fully submit to someone who is a role model. We said you cannot be mentored by somebody who is not a model.
Yes.
They model in virtues, values, and principles. And you submit to them so that they can impart those virtues, values, and principles, VVPs, to you, so that you can also walk in the reality, possibly even better than they are, that same reality. But I also want to balance something here, and to say that the principle thing, so you don't learn from your mentor the house, you learn from your mentor the whys. So it's not the way, it is the why. So if I can get the whys of effective public communication from my mentor, all right, then I can use the same whys, though I'm not a lawyer like my mentor, but because he's imparted to me the principles of effective communication, I can use them as a pastor. So my mentor is still relevant because what they are passing is not patterns, they are passing principles. And principles are, would I say, scalable to all areas of life. So you can have a mentor who may not be in your area of industry, but the principles that they are imparting to you, they can be used in your area of industry. That's to balance that. You don't have to be mentored by a pastor for you to be a pastor. However, it's advisable because the pastor has been in that space. But you can use the principles that you've been mentored by, say, a family mentor, to use them even in the ministry. So there's no knowledge or there's no principle that is lesser important. And so the more people you have from whom you can draw virtues, values, and principles, they're better, because then you have a better mix or capacity to be able to fulfill your purpose in life. That is God's perfect will by every time and season.
Wow. Do you have a mentor? Do you have somebody who is a role model in your life that you could you know, look up to as a mentor and pursue as a mentor. Share your thoughts about this discussion we are having on our pages on the Elevate TV, YouTube, or Facebook. And we will be happy to look at them and read them during this particular show. So you're saying, I mean, aptly so, that, you know, you can have more than one mentors in your life, in different aspects of your life. Now, something else you brought about well is that mentorship is a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, that it's let me ask you the question. Is it, what's the nature of this relationship? Is it transactional in the sense that, is there a financial aspect to mentorship?
Well, let me put it, it's good you brought that up.
Yeah.
And this sometimes is the pitfall in relationships, whether it's cross-gender for purposes of marriage,
Yes.
or whether it's business, or whether it's this mentorship. And that is the big question: what is in it for me? And as we've said from our teenage years,
Yes.
we've learned that there's nothing like just friends. It's a lie.
Yes.
All right?
Oh, yes.
Everybody is in your life for a reason.
For a reason, yeah.
So the secret of any relationship then is defining that relationship. Because what you define dictates what you find.
Yes.
If I define you as my mentor, there are certain things that I take for granted and presuppose that will be transmitted to me, or they'll define our way of engagement.
Yeah.
All right? And so a mentor, there is a bit where the mentor leverages you, mentions you, and points you to a certain direction that is for your benefit.
Yes.
However, that ought not to be the priority. The priority is the whys, not the way. So when you start looking for the way to get things, you become, that's the easier part.
You become somebody who seeks to use another.
Absolutely. And that goes both ways.
Yes.
And when your mentor decides to use you, woe unto you. All right? Because they have more capacity.
Yes.
So you have to discern the heart of a mentor, and you as a mentee, the mentor also must also see that they have, in fact, the burden of this relationship is in the mentor, because you are the bigger person. You are the person who can't afford to be offended. The mentee can be offended, especially when you call them out.
Yeah.
And you as a mentor, you must keep your cool, because your insecurities can kick in.
Yeah.
And you find you now start overcompensating for your insecurities with certain demands, with certain gifts, with certain blackmails and threats. You know, I will never open for you another opportunity if you don't do this. By the way, what I referred you to so and so, how did you? A mentor, in a manner of speaking, in some way, is actually like a father. All right? So that you are not bringing your inadequacies on the front of the children, but you recognize that your inadequacies are there so that your mentees can learn from them. But to the question of get what you can get from your mentor, because majority of young people, they look for a mentor with a singular motive. How can they connect me? So when I say PLO is my mentor, and then people who know that I relate to the PLO at that level of relationship, they are like, can you connect me to PLO? And I ask them, why? No, I would like him to teach me how to speak. I like him. You know, you admire him in many ways, and that's fine. But I know he is a good mentor, a great mentor. But the moment you start making the relationship about what you can get quickly and run away from, then you will miss the big picture, which is, in fact, a good mentor frustrates you.
And that's what
so that you do not get the shortcuts.
I wanted to go to that aspect. How, not how, as a mentor, how do you tell between somebody who is genuinely seeking for mentorship and somebody who is merely seeking for what they can get from you?
For me, I think the easier part of that is the questions that they ask. Because the transactional frequency of a mentorship relationship is questions. So the questions a mentee asks tells you where are they placed. If they're asking how questions, then you can tell this person has not gotten it right.
Yes.
Because if you're asking me, how can I become a good author? That is the easier part, because you want to get the house so that you can move on, which is fine. But if you are willing to learn why do you need to become, that's a longer journey. It will build your muscles. But that goes with teachability. It goes with the attitude. It goes with willing to take instruction. Or that, that's it. Teachability and instructability goes together. It goes with the availability. Because if a mentee suddenly feels that they are too busy for the mentor, because the mentor knows certain muscles you need to develop for your next level. And if they put you into a regime, they don't owe you to explain even the duration of the regime, but you can design. Remember, it's a relationship. It's not, it's me versus him. There's such close proximity that you can understand their heart before you even see their hand, right? And so that's why you said, if you can discern the heart of your mentor is evil, you owe yourself to run before their hands strangle you. Okay. Right? But as a mentor, you become vulnerable. Mentee, you become vulnerable. Both of you, you become vulnerable to one another. And so the idea is, so there's, I said, one, there's a teachability. There's a fair level of availability. I mean, there's availability. There's a level of responsibility. And most importantly, there's vulnerability. So if a mentee demonstrates those things, then you can be so sure that can start you off in a good relationship.
Wow. Powerful truths coming through here in this conversation on mentorship. Do you have questions that you would want us to tackle on this particular show concerning mentorship? What is your experience as a mentor or as a mentee? We would like to hear from you. You could share with us some of the experiences that you have had as a mentor with a mentee, or as a mentee with a mentor, that can shed light and can help us to continue to learn, because we are in this conversation together, and as we continue to be part of this show. All right. So as we, you know, in a moment get ready to take a short break. So we've talked about you know, the relationship. The priority of the relationship is not what I'm necessarily getting from it. The priority is
what am I becoming?
What am I becoming? That's the priority. You know, could you say, maybe just reinforce something there for 20 seconds before we go on break?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've picked the words off my mouth, that the relationship is about what are you becoming. And as we've said, a mentor can teach, or you can teach what you know, but you produce who you are. So that's why it's very important for you to understand who are you submitting to mentor you, because it's not what they will teach you, it's what they will produce, what they will impart into you. And in fact, I also need to quickly, in 20 seconds that are remaining again, to say this, that there's a difference between an advisor and a coach. A mentor is a coach, not an advisor.
Hold that thought there. We are going to take a short break, then come back, picking it up from where he has left it. The difference between an advisor and a coach, as we continue to learn about leadership and mentorship. Keep your thoughts, coming to us, your comments, your feedback, and any questions you would like us to share on. It would be lovely to hear from you about your experiences concerning mentorship and leadership. And so share them on our YouTube page and on our Facebook page. And when we come back, I'll have an opportunity to look at your comments, your thoughts, your feedback. So see you in a moment. Stay tuned.